Someday, when the eventual overtaking of the human race happens because of our robot overlords, I will bring up today as you're not going to get very far because technology stinks. But guess what? We do a show anyway because we're just that damn committed to bringing you the finest in internet radio quality. It's the Mike Sasson Show live on Facebook Live or on www.riversedgepgh.com or on TuneIn Radio, or after the fact, you might be listening to us on SoundCloud, Google Play, or iTunes. Today, sitting in for news and notes will be from his podcast, Give Me Death or Give Me Murder, or Give Me Murder or Give Me Death. That's the other way around. It's Alex Stypula. He'll be here momentarily. Also, we're going to be talking about the highest paid comedians in the country. Guess what? I'm not one of them. Also, again, our thoughts and experiences with Alex, and just a whole, just wonderful things that are going to happen today and going to happen to you. It is now officially, in my opinion, the shittiest month of the year, August. We'll be talking about that. Also, the fact that I'm on about 4 hours sleep. I'll tell you why. I'm just going to reveal a lot of things. Now, if you're watching us live on Facebook Live, you're sitting there saying, hey, Mike, I was with you at 9 o'clock. I didn't see you guys. I was wondering what happened. Here's what happened. We are an internet radio show that I believe values lighting above all else. That's the number one thing we value. We are the best lit internet radio podcast, whatever you want to talk to in the history of the world. True. We are just that's the number one thing. We've got more lighting in here
just
than they do for the
Just because we have a lot of lighting doesn't mean we're the best well lit.
Yes,
you should specify that.
I think we're the internet radio show that cares most about its lighting.
I don't like that you say these things.
Why is this?
Because I don't think it's the best.
We
could always be better.
I can understand we can always be better, but I would say of all of the internet radio shows I've ever seen, we are the most concerned about lighting. And we always make sure that we have the best lighting. So is there another level of lighting that we can go to? If there's one thing about the River's Edge that I would sit there and say that I am committed to, and the Godfather himself, Brian Crawford, is committed to, is ultimately being on the forefront of technology, especially since we're in this brand new studio, all that kind of stuff at Mr. Small's Theater. That's one thing that we've always kind of strived for. So will we eventually have even a better lighting? Yes, we will. And you know who else will light? Producer extraordinaire Alex Clemens. I hope. Are we in a calm place right now?
Yeah. As long as you don't make me angry.
I'm not trying to make you angry, but I'm just saying, just so you get a little bit behind the scenes thing. I come in here at 8:30, and Alex, normally a very angelic, calming, she's having her coffee, everything's going wonderfully, everything like that. There was some technical difficulties, and so we had to work through them. And I just saw on the face of Alex, hey, I put up the sign.
Wow,
I did.
That's not technical.
It's very technical for someone who is not technical.
That's not technology.
It is technology. Everything technically, the shelf is technically technology. If man had to invent it, at one point we had nowhere to put our trophies, and then someone invented the shelf. So that's technology. Boom, win, victory, me. That's right. So you're watching us, you're listening to us. We're glad you're here. And a lot more people are listening to us. Last week, Brian messages me and he goes, Mike, amazing news. Normally, with the stream between www.riversedgepgh.com and TuneIn Radio, we average around 200 unique listeners a week. I mean, not a week, a day. And that's pretty good. 200 people are listening to live local music or the podcast or whatever you want to talk about per day. And we were pretty happy about that. Last week, we were over 1,000 a day. So there's more of you. It's a movement, Alex. We're beginning a movement of people sick and tired of just terrible, horrible crap in terms of their audio pleasure, and now they're going towards the river's edge. They're going to the best local music. They're going towards the best talk. And we thank you. Again, if you're listening to this, know that you're part of a movement week in and week out that is growing exponentially, and I thank you. And again, if you're on the Facebook Live right now and you are live, or if it's even after the fact, comment away, tell everybody what you're thinking, tell us what we need to do better, tell us what Alex needs to do better, because I'll be honest with you, she always strives for excellence, and your criticism is absolutely needed. Moving on.
Yes, please.
As I mentioned before, I am on about 4.5 hours sleep.
That's crazy. That's usually how I always come in here.
I know.
Says I have to be here like 6 hours beforehand.
Yes. But yesterday what happened was...
What happened? Why did you sleep, Mike?
Here's why.
What were you doing? You out clubbing all night?
I was out clubbing. That's if you know me, and you do know me, you've met me a couple times, there is nothing I like better than going into a loud place with loud music with people I don't like.
Did you take Crappy with you? He loves clubbing.
Crappy owns about 4 of the biggest clubs here in Pittsburgh. He owns about 4 of the biggest clubs here in Pittsburgh. He owns like 3 or 4 on South Beach in Miami, a couple in LA, a couple in Vegas. He doesn't even care. It's just money like him is like water. That's the kind of guy that Crappy is. Bring down Crappy. He's right over there to make sure that people know what we're talking about. Crappy the poop. The poop on you, extravaganza. And I do have someone I need to poop on later. It's a quick poop.
You don't realize how difficult that was for me. Trying not to knock any cords.
I know. That's basically what this show is. It's just us trying. Here's Crappy. We'll just have him. Hello, I'm going to drink Alex's coffee. Anyways, no, here's what actually happened. I knew my sister Mary, who lives out in Los Angeles, who's getting married in October. The end of this week, she's actually going to have like her bridal shower or party or whatever they call it when the bride kind of gets people together. She already had one in LA, and now she's having one for her Pittsburgh people. So there's a lot of people coming in during the week. So last night, my brother Matt was supposed to come in August 2nd, which again is tomorrow if you're listening after the fact. So I was figuring, okay, he must have a ride, maybe my sister Bridget or someone was picking him up. My mom texts me and sits there and goes, Matt will be coming in like 1 in the morning tomorrow. And I'm like, wait a minute, how's he getting in? And so I text my brother Matt, and he's just like, I was just thinking I'd just take an Uber. No. Then the big brother in me came in. I'm like, no, I am going to the airport, and I am picking you up. So that's why I'm on 5 hours sleep, because I was the good big brother, and I went out there at 1 in the morning to the airport, picked my brother up from the airport, drove him all the way back, and he's now safely asleep, enjoying just the love of just the warmth of being home while I bring the finest internet radio money can buy. So that's why I'm on 4 hours sleep. I was the good big brother picking up my brother.
That's a good reason.
Thank you very much.
I'm glad you told us all that.
Thank you.
You just wanted to gloat how good of a sibling you are?
Yes, I'm an amazing sibling. You understand that I should give lessons on how to be a big brother, because I'm excellent at it. Because right now I have one older sister, but then after that I have 6 younger siblings. And I am an expert on making them really resent me. That's really the number one thing I'm really good at. Most of them resent me, and you know what? That's ultimately what you want your siblings to be. Moving on.
Yeah.
As I mentioned before, I hate August.
Yeah, I've never heard you say that.
I despise the month of August. Here's why. Okay, first and foremost, as I mentioned, number one, as soon as I walked in today and I saw all the technical difficulties, I just blamed August.
That's a stupid reason.
That's the reason why. I blame the whole month of August. It's first and foremost, it's the hottest month of the year. And if there's one thing that a large mammal like me hates, it's warmth. So that's just, again, it's going to be a whole month of just me sweating through my shirts. 2, football preseason starts. And this is where we differ in terms of sports.
Yeah, I love preseason.
You love preseason football. I despise it. It bores the hell out of me. It's pointless. And, I understand that it's a necessary. If you're a coach, and I was a coach at one point, you want as much practice as humanly possible. But having to pay for it or watch it, it's unwatchable.
No, you go if you get free tickets.
Yes. Well, even then, I'd be.
Do people pay a lot of money for preseason tickets?
Well, first off, if you have season tickets to the Steelers, it's full price. A preseason game in August costs you the same as a regular season
but
game.
it just like all comes together.
Yes, but I think that's kind of bullshit because the players aren't playing. If I show up, okay, and Ben Roethlisberger is in shorts and a ball cap, I should not get
See,
have
that's
to pay.
exactly what I want to see. All the other people play.
Why do you want all the other people play? They're not as good.
Yeah, but it's fun.
Why is it?
And they get a chance and they get to live their glory for a little while everyone sit in the stands in the nice weather eating hot dogs and drinking beer and sleeping like me.
Yeah, sleep. That's the number one thing. You just like it because Heinz Field becomes just a giant open air bed and breakfast for you.
I get really good sleep there. It's the noises.
You hate
help.
noises though.
No. These are like crowd noises, and
Okay.
like outside noises, and it's like loud.
But then they pump all the music that you hate, all the heavy metal, Guns N' Roses,
But
all
I'm
that kind of
sleeping
stuff.
during it, so it's okay.
All right. So if you could sleep through a Guns N' Roses concert, is what you're saying?
No, I don't want to ever go.
Okay, I understand that. But
My
I mean,
cousin was really mad at me yesterday because
Why?
he apparently listened to the show, and he was like, "How do you not like it?" And
how old's your cousin?
And then he was like, "Oh my God, this is considered classic rock now," and he felt old.
Okay, how old was he?
I don't know. He's like 40.
Okay.
I didn't want to say something wrong because
Okay.
I don't actually know his exact age.
Oh, really? Do you? But yours.
I have like a million cousins. How are you supposed to remember everyone's ages?
I mean, I know approximate ages. I have a lot of cousins too, because again, I'm from a family of 8. My dad was from a family of 8, and my mom has 4, and so there's tons of cousins.
Yeah.
And then, but I know approximate ages.
You know my memory though.
I understand.
I don't even remember my age half the
yeah.
time.
How old are you again?
I don't know.
Exactly. That's the thing.
60?
Yeah, 21, 80, 1,000. I don't know. Someone comment if they know Alex and make sure you tell her how old she is.
Please.
Yeah, someone. Because you keep on going, oh, I can't go to the bar. I'm underage. And
Yeah.
then the cops, you be like, oh, I got to get out of here. And you're running out of the bar. And the cop is like, Alex, I've been here 7 times. You're clearly legal. Why do you keep bothering people? Okay. So,
Anyways, what were we even talking about?
we were talking about how much I hate August.
Oh, that's why I started to intervene.
Okay. The other part that I hate is, again, school starts in August.
You don't even go to school.
I know, but guess what happens during school? Buses show up.
Oh, I don't have to deal with that.
I hate school buses because they always end up in front of me. They take 92 freaking stops, and then goes. The one thing that I hate more than anything else is when the parents all sit around where the bus stop is going to be. They show up, literally the bus comes at like 4. They're there camping like they're waiting for like Grateful Dead tickets at like 2 in the afternoon. They're all sitting around because they got no lives.
I think that's adorable.
I think it's awful. I think it's what's wrong with this country.
So you're not going to pick your kid up from the school bus?
No, walk. Don't.
That's some quality time you got there.
No, that's
that you're walking back.
I always read this about like rich people that have like NFL players that always talk. Oh, I don't want to do. I want to drive my kid to school. My parents, to this day, if you said where is O'Hara Elementary, would not know where it is. They had no clue where no one ever drove me to school.
Doesn't mean that you can't do it.
My last day of my senior year. We don't want your
kids to end up just like you.
Exactly. That's what I want. I want just people that are just hateful of life. Anyways, my last day of my senior year, okay? You're a senior. I'm going to play college football. I'm going to be graduating. And because they let us out early, because all we did the last day of school was just do practice graduation, literally took a school bus home. That's how you end your year. That's how you end your high school years. Take the damn school bus with Gladys, the bus driver, who'd been driving me since I was in kindergarten, driving 18-year-old Mike back. And guess who was waiting for me at the bus stop? Nobody.
Ugh,
That's how it is.
That doesn't mean you have to carry that on.
You learn that no one cares about you in this world.
Also, someone guessed how old.
How old?
I don't know if that's a guess. Dylan Weston.
Okay.
He said that I think that she's 22. That's how good I look for my age.
There you go. I actually know your age, and Dylan.
Don't tell anyone.
Okay, she's actually.
Someone has to guess correctly, and then they get a hug.
They get a virtual hug. They get a virtual hug over the internet. Speaking of virtual hugs, you're going to get many virtual hugs. Moving on, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Alex drinks. Because she's okay. I'll give you a hint. She can legally drink. All right, I'll give you that hint in terms of like.
Well, then he guessed right for that.
Yeah, but I'm just telling you that it would be weird if she couldn't legally drink, and we had a segment called Bar Thoughts and Experiences, and it turns out that like I picked Alex up as like a 17-year-old kid out of Baldwin High School. No, she's legally allowed to drink, and she does, and then she tells stories. It's Bar Thoughts and Experiences. Up next on the Mike Sasson Show, live on www.riversedgepgh.com or on TuneIn Radio. We'll be right back. It is the Mike Sasson Show, live at Mr. Small's Theater. You're listening live at www.riversedgepgh.com or on TuneIn Radio, or after the fact, you are listening to us on SoundCloud, Google Play, or iTunes, or you are watching us live in this beautiful, massive complex of internet radiodom here at Mr. Small's Theater. Thank you very much for listening. Again, every week, viewership, listenership for the River's Edge and the Mike Sasson Show keeps growing, and we appreciate that. You know who else appreciates that? Alex. Alex over there. Alex Clemens loves you.
I don't want that to be my theme song.
This will be your theme song for Bar Thoughts and Experiences with Alex.
Maybe y'all can relate. My style's dope any way that you slice it. Here's a fresh cut, hope that you like it. About to open.
All right, Mike.
Yes, Bar Thoughts and
I think
Experiences.
that my bar thoughts from now on are just going to be things that amaze the shit out of me.
Okay.
Like palm reading. The fact that, like, how crazy it is that to believe in, and that, like, people have done studies behind it that, like, oh, this is actually, like, a legitimate thing. Like, some things on your hand have evolved enough to show
Really?
you certain things. Not necessarily like, hey, you should be a teacher, not necessarily things like that, but they can predict certain things about you. Like someone could not look at your face at all and like see your hands and be able to like predict certain things about your face or your penis, which is cool. But isn't that crazy that like our hands have evolved that much for little tiny things to show you stuff about yourself?
Yes, that would be amazing, but I don't believe that.
No. So, like, we talked about this earlier.
Okay.
A long time ago in the show.
Okay.
And about how if your index finger
Yeah, I mean, I
is
know
longer,
that.
then it
I have
tells
more
you certain
testosterone,
things.
and I have like it's incredible because
And
I have
you
like,
might have a prettier face if your finger is longer.
yeah, and I do, and that's why I'm the most attractive man in internet radio.
Well, yeah, sure.
Okay, yeah, threw the curveball there for you, Alex.
But
Go
it
ahead.
is crazy to believe. Like, I don't necessarily believe that they, like, all of the little lines in your hand tell you exactly something. Have you ever gotten your palm read before?
I've had someone just kind of look at it a little bit, and then they'll look like, "Ooh, that's the money line."
Were
and
they
it,
a palm reader or just some random ass person on the side
I think
of
it
the
was
street?
mostly drunk people on the side of the road that just like, like
Maybe
an
that's
old
why
man.
you don't believe in it.
An old man looked at me and be like, "Man, you're a guy that should give me money so I can get some bourbon." And I'm like, this doesn't sound legit.
Whenever I get my fortune told or my palm read, everyone tells me that I should be a teacher.
Here's my thing about you. I think that's just men's way of trying to like.
It's never been a man.
It's never been a man. I just think that's lesbians' ways of trying to like, get in your pants.
How?
Because they're trying to like.
What the hell
like,
does that even mean?
There's so
what do
many.
you mean?
There's so many dudes I know that like use that kind of like spiritual like, oh, let me look at. I know your aura. Oh, here's the thing about you. There's a public you, and then there's a private you.
How
and
would
you wanna-
someone telling me that I should be a teacher help get me in their pants?
Because
how on earth
they would
that
figure it
work?
out. That's the kind of like Jedi mind trick
No,
that sometimes people
that doesn't
use.
even make any sense.
Of course.
I've never gotten in the pants of anyone who's read my palm or told my fortune.
Well, I'm not saying that the people that you have done it with are like effective at it, but I think that's mostly what
I think
the
that that's
whole like
bullshit.
the whole. I think it is bullshit. You're right. Here's what I think. I think that most of this stuff, like with the like the palm reading and all of the and then the astrology, like the whole hey, what's your sign, baby? That kind of stuff. Again, is just ways.
Who the
for
hell
people-
says that? Who are these people that you come in contact with that
I
says, what's
mostly
your
go-
son, baby?
I still mostly
Who
go.
does that?
No, I still have. Women will sit there and be like, Are you a Libra or are you a Virgo? I can sense that you're more like a Sagittarius.
And do people, no one actually is like, oh yeah,
Mostly.
I can't believe that you sense that about me. Let me get in your pants.
Well, I mean, again, you can't just say, "Hey, I heard you're a Libra," and you're just like, diving and pulling down belts. But like, I'm saying that it's a first step. That's the whole point of when a guy sits there and says he has game. Essentially, what he's saying is he has a plan. He has a game plan. And the first step is to figure out whether because one thing, if you do find a woman who is like really into like astrology and all that kind of stuff, she's typically very gullible. And then step 2 is eventually then you can just tell her weird stuff. And that's like how eventually it ends up that, her dress is crumpled up on the floor. That's how it works, Alex. That's how the real work.
Dylan Weston said that his uncle is an astrologer and palm reader. I wonder if he used it on anyone.
I'll bet you did.
Use that as a pickup.
I bet you if you ask Dylan, and Dylan's a good kid, if Dylan...
Please tell us, Dylan. Please tell us if your uncle has tried to get in anyone's pants by reading their palm.
I bet you that they have. I bet you that he absolutely has.
He also guessed that I was 21. You're
Who,
not
the
supposed
palm
to go,
reader?
No, Dylan. You're not supposed to go lower in age. He's a really bad guesser.
Yes.
I've seen him at bars like 3 years ago.
Yeah, that's how weird it was. But no, I mean, I would sit there and say that.
One day I'm going to present something to you, Mike, and you're going to be like, wow, that is amazing, Alex. You're
I
right.
believe
Because you've just shit on everything that I think is amazing,
Uh-huh.
like video game animators and palm
I
reading.
didn't shit on video game animators. I think
It's just computers and shit. It's easy.
I didn't say it's easy.
You did. You said all you have to do is type it into a thing, and you're like,
you
blah,
said
blah, blah,
you
blah.
don't know how they do it, and I said computers and shit.
No, you said that, and then you also said, yeah, all you have to do is like put it into the thing and then like move around, and the thing moves.
Here's my theory of everything. Okay, my overreaching theory of everything. People think things are hard. You just have to learn how to do it. Okay, everything
obviously.
is. But what I mean is the fact that we think that everything is just like mystical and there's no way you can ever like if I sat down and I took like 2 years. And I sat with a video game animator and I said, okay, teach me how to do this.
I'm not saying it's an impossible thing to learn. Obviously, you can learn it,
Yeah.
but it's still an amazing thing that people are that good at it.
Yes, I agree that there are people that are amazingly good at it. But the question you
And
asked...
it's not just easy computers and shit.
It's not. I didn't say it was easy. I just said that's how they do it. Your question was, I don't know how they do it. And I go, computers and shit. How do they read palms? Your mind and your eyes and shit.
No, you said palm reading is not real.
Oh, yeah, I also just said that. Okay, anything else?
No, I think we're good.
Okay.
We can just move on.
Okay.
Well, one day I'll find something
Yes. Someday.
that you're not completely negative about.
Probably not. Moving on, something I am not completely negative about is my own 5 takes. Play my theme song. My theme song is totally metal. It's my 5 takes. These are, again, quick little takes that I just come through the week that I want to share with you. Number 1 take. Soul crushing is an actual thing. One thing that you do learn when you start talking to everyday normal people and all that kind of stuff is there are a lot of people out there that have lost their will to be different, lost their will to try. And really, if you're ever in that situation, you got to really fight to keep a piece of your individuality and soul. That's really what like working in cubicles and working in big office buildings and for big companies, they really want you to do is eventually get to the point where you just become a mindless drone that just listens to them, and that's all you want to do. That's all I'm telling you is keep fighting, keep resisting. Number 4, again, something I also want to resist on. I was in the supermarket yesterday, and guess what I saw? They have Halloween candy out already. It was July 31st, which means they probably put it out earlier that in July. 4th of July was only a couple weeks ago, and there was the M&Ms already with Halloween on them. Give me some time to, enjoy the fact that it's warm a little bit, or give people or kids the opportunity to enjoy the fact that they don't have to go to school. No, you're going to throw it in people's faces that guess what? Eventually, it's going to be Halloween. Not a big fan of that. Number 3, I read so many articles from around the country in the Washington Post, or the New York Times or any of these other things that talk about the fact that they come to steel mill towns or in West Virginia or Pennsylvania and Ohio, and they all come around and they write the same story about how heroin and opiate addiction is destroying these communities and blah, 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 blah. I just have one thing to say. I think there should be like an asterisk on all of these articles. There's like an editor's note. Editor's note. Johnstown was shitty prior to heroin. That's what I want. I want it wasn't like that, like everything was awesome in Newcastle, Pennsylvania until 2014. Then heroin hit, and now it turned to shit. No, they've been having rough times for a while. That's why they've been doing the heroin. Okay, I just want that to be out there. Number two.
Oh man, I was like not paying attention for a little while,
Okay.
and you're only on number 2.
Yeah, I've been doing this for.
I was like-
The show's been going on for 40 minutes. I was riffing on that last one for about a half hour.
I thought I'd miss a lot more.
Okay. There was this new study that was brought out last week where Boston University has a brain and injury like laboratory. And they're like the impetus for this whole CTE thing, which is essentially they're saying in contact sports, you know, kids and people shouldn't play football or rugby or hockey because eventually you
Because
get
it's boring?
because it's boring. The other part is because they say that eventually brain injuries happen. Here's my thing. I think if you read the study that made all the news last week, they said 98% of NFL players that they studied had brain injuries, and 87% of the brains of former college football players and high school players they studied had brain injuries.
Oh no.
But here's the point that I had.
What?
If you read the article, essentially how they get this is people have to donate their brains to this institute. And when they checked the brain, they sat there and went, yep, has this dot on it, has CTE.
Wait.
Go ahead.
After they're dead?
Exactly.
Oh, but I want to know when I'm alive.
But
What's
that's the
wrong
point.
with
They
my
haven't
brain.
figured out how to do it when you're alive. But when you're dead, they cut open your brain, they take like a little picture of it, and they see little dots on it and stuff like that. And they go, yep, that's CTE. But that's the point. Who sends their brain to be analyzed by these Boston University people? Probably people that were like crazy, like, you know, running around shooting people when they were alive as a pro football player, dies, and then the wife or the kids say, hey, take a look at this brain. So, of course, those are the people that are going to have some
wanna
sort of
do
brain
it.
injury. What?
I want to do it.
You want to send just your normal, just to figure out if you had CTE?
Yeah.
What would have possibly given you CTE in your youth?
It's from a lot of concussions.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of things. I've fallen on cement a decent amount of times.
Doing what?
Different things.
Just like riding your
Watching
bike?
parades,
Watching parades.
Yeah.
You got CTE from watching too many parades?
This one time when I was younger, I was watching a parade at my cousin's house, and the way that her house is set up, there's like street level, and then it goes down a little bit. And then there's a piece of cement and then the grass. And I was sitting in a plastic chair watching the parade, and I don't know what I did, but I fell back onto the cement. And then I took a nap like right afterwards. We
Yeah,
were
that
just
was
talking
not-
about this yesterday,
yeah.
how they weren't very good with these
Yeah.
things.
Concussions back in the day, they would say just sleep it off. Or they'd say you got your bell rung. Can you remember any other times that you got concussions?
This one time, this is why I don't particularly like trampolines, because I was jumping on a trampoline and someone, you know, when you like double bounce
Yeah.
people, well, I flew off of the trampoline, and it always happens with plastic chairs. I fell into a plastic chair, but then obviously the plastic chair tipped over and I hit my head.
Trampolines are dangerous.
They are.
I don't understand why we give them to kids.
Or put them on cement.
Yeah. Yeah. We're,
Doesn't seem like a
we're
good
terrible
idea
with
at
that.
all.
But the point I'm trying to make is if we analyzed your brain after the fact, we probably would find CTE. But because of the fact that you were acting weird, like, you know, being on this show, ultimately that proves that, yeah, you might have some.
I think my memory proves that I might have it.
You know what? Anybody who knows Alex, go on the comments page and really give us some instances where you believe that, yeah, CTE might be affecting Alex's cognitive ability and her ability to make decisions outside of the fact that she's on this show. Moving on. Number one.
What is it? Tell us.
Tell us. Okay, so I'm at a mic and we're at.
Sorry, that's
Okay.
a good comment.
Okay, good comment. So I'm sitting there and a guy comes up to me. We're at a new place. He didn't know. He's looking at the menu and he's going, I don't know what to order from this place.
Aw.
And so I'm like, if you're ever at a place where you don't know anything about the food, if it's any good or anything like that, you gotta go with the basics. You don't go on the weird stuff. Avoid fish. Avoid stuff that they might be able to
I love doing that.
I know, but don't do that. That's how you get sick. That's how bad things happen. Here's my list of the things that if you're not sure if they can make good food, you should ultimately stick with. Number 1, chili. Very difficult to mess up chili. You can get it out of a can, okay?
I guess.
You can't mess up chili.
You don't know what they're putting in there.
Yeah, exactly. But it's still pretty good, and it's still usually okay.
Okay.
Number 2, burgers.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, you order the burger. Burger and fries, it's very difficult to screw that up. Number 3, pizza. If there's a pizza, if they're putting bread, sauce, and cheese on it, it's going to be pretty good. And number 4, nachos. Very difficult to absolutely screw up nachos. You have tortilla chips, you put cheese on it, you put some tomatoes and pico de gallo, all that kind of happy horse shit, and then guess what? You got nachos. It's kind of hard to fuck up. Do you have another one that you would recommend?
What did he decide on?
He eventually decided on tacos.
You know what I hate is that there's a huge stigma that's like females are worse at decisions than males. I don't think that's true. Do you think that's true?
Do I think that females... I believe that men are told to essentially, when you make a decision,
stick with
it and drive through, and that's what you do.
Yeah,
whereas
be a man.
Women have been taught, because of society, to get a consensus and to make sure everybody likes them and to make sure that, is everybody happy with this choice and everything like that? Whereas men are taught, we're going to Denny's, that's where we're going, no one talk to me, we're gonna have the Grand Slam, this is what we're gonna do. So do I think they're worse? No, but I think that men are trained from young ages to make a decision and just go with it.
I think my family is the worst at decisions.
Really?
Absolutely.
I think my family are the worst at decisions because they had 8 kids, but go ahead.
We're always we're just so laid back. People are like, I don't care, why don't you decide? And then everyone else says the same thing, and then no one ever gets anything
My
done.
family's there's one thing that's going to happen this weekend with all of us around. We're going to try to decide to do something. We're going to be like, where do you think we should go? And we'll have 8 separate opinions. And that'll turn into 8 separate arguments. And then eventually we're just going to go to Eaton Park because it's the only place where the little nieces can go and run around and no one cares. That's where we always go. Because it's okay, you go to a buffet. Carly can throw chairs against the wall. No one gives a shit.
Aww.
And that's basically what we do. But everyone's like, I want pizza. I want Italian. I want Chinese food. I want to just have a picnic. Why do you have a picnic? Picnics are stupid. You should go out more. I hate you. Let's go to Eaton Park. That's basically what it comes down to. You know what also comes down to? Sitting in our green room right now is one of the funniest comedians in the city of Pittsburgh. And coming up, we're going to be asking the question that everybody has asked and never had the scientific proof to ask. Who's more attractive, Alex Stypula or some of the greatest killers of all time? It's Alex Stypula. He'll be on the next time you see us. It's the Mike Sasson Show live on the River's Edge at www.riversedgepgh.com. We'll be right back. You're listening to the Mike Sasson Show live on www.riversedgepgh.com or on TuneIn Radio, or you're watching the camera being moved here at Mr. Small's Theater in beautiful Millvale, Pennsylvania. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for listening. We had a question from Dylan Weston asking, have I ever hooked up with anybody from Craigslist?
Have you ever met anyone?
No, from Craigslist? No, never. I would never go on that website. That's a weird place.
Come on.
If you buy something on Craigslist, you probably meet the person you buy it from. So that could count.
Well,
You've never bought anything from Craigslist?
No,
either.
I've never. Because you know what? That's another way people rip you off. Because I now currently have a job at a financial institution, and one of the ways that people kind of try to rip you off is from out of state. They go, oh, I want to buy your couch, and then they send you a check. And they say it's for more than you asked for, and then they go, take the money from that and pay the movers in cash, and then you keep the rest, and then the check bounces after 5 days, and you already paid guys $500, and then they have your couch.
Yeah.
So
I feel like
avoid that.
Maybe on whoever did that.
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
It.
I'm saying
Yeah.
exactly.
I don't think you should avoid Craigslist. I found almost every one of my jobs on Craigslist.
Okay, including this one.
Yeah.
No, this one you just found at a bar. Speaking, you might have been hearing a voice right there. The voice you just heard is of Alex Stypula, and I will say this, and I've said this on the show. There's very few comedians that I would pay for that perform in the city of Pittsburgh, except for the man sitting on my left, Alex Stypula. Thank you very much for being on the show. You have a brand new podcast, Give Me Murder or Give Me Death. What is the point? What is the I was about to say the point, but what is the premise of your podcast?
Well, I don't think there's a point to anything. But the podcast is about murder.
Okay.
And I think we did one, odd deaths or interesting stories that involve death. So it's not necessarily always like true crime, but it's mostly murder. We've done a couple of serial killers or like, usually it's violent crimes that involve deaths.
Now, whenever you're a comedian,
But it's funny.
Yeah, but that's one thing everybody always talks about when you're a comedian. One thing they always talk about is, hey, you should get a podcast, or you should get. Now, someone would sit there and say, like, how does this improve your brand or this like that? I just think in knowing you for close to 5 years that you just wanted to pick a podcast that you would be like, okay, I'd be interested in really learning and investigating something that I find interesting, and it's not necessarily about me trying to sell tickets to a VFW in Johnstown.
Yeah, I don't think it would work for that, to be honest. No, I mean, I've wanted to do a podcast for a while, but I didn't want to have one just for the sake of it. And I think that's what it's kind of trending towards. A lot of comics do have podcasts, but I think a few years ago it seemed to peak with like a lot of people had them just to have them, and they just kind of talked.
Yeah.
But really didn't have much of a point.
Well, that's one of the things about this show. First off,
There's no point.
Yeah, there's no point. Well, I would agree with you that at the core of everything, there really is no point.
Yeah.
Which really should actually relax you. Because to me, it should be like, I sent you the quote from the Dalai Lama where he sat there and he goes, there's two types of problems. There's stuff we can fix and with stuff we can't fix. If we can fix it, don't worry about it. We can fix it. And if we can't fix it, why are you worrying about it? You can take a more nihilistic viewpoint of just like, well, there's no point to anything, so don't worry about it. But one thing that like this I view is, again, I bristle at the whole concept that this is a podcast because, again, we're broadcasting live.
Yeah.
We have segments. So it more mirrors, in my opinion, kind of radio in that instance. So to me, just like, I believe that probably about 90% of the podcasts I've ever listened to are unlistenable. Because it is just like four people just droning on about some really specific subject that like they find insanely interesting, but like most people, especially in comedy, it's usually like four comedians really getting into inside baseball about the Cincinnati comedy scene. And you're just like,
There's nothing more boring than a comedy podcast about, I mean, Mark Maron's interesting because they're famous people.
Yeah.
And people want to hear their stories. But I mean, I've listened to a couple podcasts of like, I don't even know what city they're in. And they're just talking about all this like, these extremely inside references, and it just doesn't land in any way. It's super boring.
And then on top of that, one thing that I've always found is that like people have come up to me and they're like, hey, Mike, I'd like to do, a podcast or internet radio. The first thing I always say is make sure that you have audio equipment that they can hear you. Because the worst thing I've always had is I've listened to so many podcasts where like this is what I have to hear for like 45 minutes, and I'm just like, okay, that sounds
even if the podcast
terrible.
is good, you're not going to listen to it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you were listening on the radio and all of a sudden the audio was terrible, you'd switch the station.
Well, yeah, we didn't even want to fuck with it, so we just pay someone to do it.
Cool.
We have a friend who does like audio stuff.
And you know
Can
what?
we get one of those? Friends?
No, I should get. Oh, can I get a friend just in general and get
Just
a friend?
to help us with life?
Well, we could get one. Now, one question I have is: you have a co-host. Where did you find her? How did you get in touch with her?
I've just known her for years.
Did you just know that she's like interested in the same thing you are in terms of like more murder?
No,
and
I've known her for probably 8 or more years, a long time. But we didn't find out last summer until we were both super into true crime. So then we just started, we're exchanging all these texts, that you can't send other people, like, look at this article or listen
About
to this.
murder.
Yeah, about murder and, like, serial killers, all this gross shit that no one else wants to get and would think you were super weird for sending them. So then eventually one day she was like, well, let's just start a podcast. Because what we talked about most of the time was true crime or, like, murder podcasts.
Now, one thing that, I love your stand-up. I always, whenever we're at mics or shows and we've done shows together, I always sit and watch. And obviously you have an album out, Dolphins Are Garbage, which I agree, fuck them.
Yeah.
Fuck them in the ass. Who
You know
cares?
the truth.
Seriously. Yeah, and seriously, why were we stopping them? Like, the tuna, we were cool with killing them, but the Dolphins, like, oh, don't kill the Dolphins. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
I agree. Now, but the thing is that when you started up stand-up, what was your vision for what you wanted to be? Because you're a unique performer in a sense that I wouldn't call it a character. I would call it a hyper version of you and what you believe and everything like that. How did that form? How did you kind of, or did you just go on stage and it's just how it happened organically?
That's just kind of how it happened organically. I definitely didn't. I don't know what the word would be. I didn't try and force it. That's just I when I sit down to write jokes, which I used to do a lot more. That's just kind of what would come out. And it used to be I used to like yell and pace a lot, and I think that was probably maybe a bit of just general nerves starting out. So I did that probably the first couple of years, but it's at least on stage it's settled down a little bit. But yeah, no, there was no specific vision or anything. It's just kind of how it happened.
I think that's the best way to do it because like people come up to me all the time. They go, "Hey, Mike, I love your energy." Like I'm not trying to do anything. I'm just, I'm just being on stage and like people come up to me and they say, "You're very similar to what you are off stage, on stage." I'm like, yeah, I'm not acting. I'm not that good an actor. I can't go up there for 40 minutes and be the character, an energetic, guy who's pissed off about, stupid shit. Yeah. So, I mean, you just kind of go with it and everything like that.
Yeah. It's not necessarily a character per se, I think like people always, more so in the past, but they would like say that I was doing a character, like that character you do. And I think stand-up, anybody who's doing stand-up, it's a little bit of a character. It's,
It's a side of you.
It's a side, yeah.
I would say that if any stand-up, any human being, if you're one way all the time, then you're just a fake human being.
Yeah.
But I think that obviously, I don't act and say the things that I say on stage if I'm with my 3-year-old niece.
Yeah.
Obviously I have different sides. And so, obviously you don't in front of children, maybe you do, I don't know. If you did, that'd be hilarious. If you did go up to kids and just, start talking about, dolphins are garbage, you don't. You have sides. I mean, obviously you listen right now, you're a very, calm, intelligent human being, very thoughtful. And, you've obviously figured out that everything's pointless.
Yeah, I mean, if the kid was interesting, I'd tell him about dolphins.
How many interesting...
kids are boring.
Yeah,
mostly.
they are. That's one thing that I've brought this up that a lot of my friends are parents and then they bring their kids and then they want me to talk to them and it's just like, nothing. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
They're kids.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Their brain isn't fully developed.
I was an extremely interesting 11-year-old.
I highly doubt that you were.
I bet I
can't
was.
even
I was
believe
an
that you were
insanely
anything
interesting 12-year-old.
No.
I had such deep thoughts about all sorts of things.
No, you're just like
You have
tackling
your
people and
journals?
stuff.
Yeah, I was never big into journals.
No.
I tried once and I wrote a page and I'm like, I don't want this out.
I didn't really either.
Yeah,
I had tons of journals.
Yeah, that's a woman thing where basically women like to write diaries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Are they still around, your journals?
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Do you occasionally read them?
Yeah, especially the ones from when I was in like 3rd grade. It's all about boys. I started out young.
There you go. Now, one thing, Alex, I will say this, 2 Alexes. Now, isn't it? You flat out when one week I couldn't do the show, and I said, okay, if you want to, I can bring some comedians on. The first person she said she wanted was you, Alex Stypula.
Oh, that's nice.
And so now, when you see Alex's stand-up, what exactly do you love about it outside of that it's just funny?
Everything? I don't know. It's my type of humor. Dark humor. I don't know. I have your podcast saved on my home screen of my phone, just so you know.
Oh, thank you.
I listen to it on the way to work so I can, think about murdering people while I'm working.
Get chipper in the
Get
morning.
get in the head.
Of all of them that you listened to, what was your favorite?
Of the podcast?
Yeah.
Probably the Amityville horror one. That was pretty good.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
We gotta do more of those, more supernatural ones.
Yeah. I think just your comments on the show pretty kind of made it.
Well, yeah, we wanted to do that.
Because you didn't believe any of that.
No, I don't believe in ghosts.
Yeah.
Shit's stupid. Anything supernatural whatsoever. She kind of, she's not, like, closed to the idea, but she definitely isn't, like, one of those people who watches the... Well, I don't even know what the names of the shows are where they hunt ghosts.
I had one of when I was on the Kren podcast, we had one of those like ghost hunter type people on.
Yeah.
Did they bring in one of their machines to see if there's ghosts in the room?
No, because it's just you just could just sense it from 100 miles away that just everything was bullshit. And then one time when I was on the radio, we had these 2 ladies that said that they were speaking to like your dead relatives, and it was so obvious that they had a script.
Yeah.
That if they followed, you'd give them the anser.
Oh,
like
yeah,
you'd be like,
it's like parlor tricks.
Yeah, you'd be like, I'm looking at a man. He's playing with. He's cooking. You had an uncle. You go, oh, Uncle Jim loved to barbecue. Yeah, Uncle Jim's barbecuing up there. It's 4th of July. And you give him the answer.
They get it out of you.
Yeah, they get it out of you, and then eventually and then later on you just be like, oh my God, they knew everything about Uncle Jim. Uncle Jim is watching over me and all that kind of stuff.
That'll be $50.
Yeah, and then the thing is that like Louis C.K. talked about in his recent special, where like the NFL player sits there and goes like, you know, my mom was watching me up there, and it's like, Jesus, does it ever end? Can't the mom, like, okay, she came to every one of your games. She's got to continue to watch in the afterlife.
Be able to chill.
Yeah, seriously. She's dead. She's in her happy place. She shouldn't have to watch. And by the way, if she's watching your game, that means she can watch you do everything. Mm-hmm. That means like when you're cheating on your wife or you're jerking off to weird shit on your phone, guess what? Your mom's sitting down watching. That's if that's heaven. It's just
Cheering
you
on every step of the way.
Yeah, seriously. Go, get it done. That'd be weird if when you show up to heaven or hell, if there is a heaven or hell. By the way,
I don't think so.
yeah, by the way. And so, but you show up and then your relatives are just like, all we do up here is just watch you masturbate. That's all we've been doing for the past like 30 years. It's just been amazingly how much you've just.
Well, that would suck for them then because.
They only have one person to watch over you.
That's their
You're
thing.
the only person that they
They'd have
care
to
about.
pick a new person to watch masturbate.
I know they have to pick new relatives because apparently, I mean, you're a weird person if you take the afterlife and you're just like, hey, let's just watch little Jimmy jerk off again to the same,
Maybe that's their thing. Maybe that's what everyone's
heaven
thing is in heaven.
Cheering for him to use his left hand.
Yeah. But that's
like a big thing.
Wouldn't you find that weird if your grandma was just like, yeah, Alex, all we did up here was just watch you pleasure yourself and then watch you occasionally fuck. That's all we did up here. That's all heaven is just live circuit television of watching people on earth fuck.
Yeah, I'd like to ask them about that, I think.
Just like, did you have any pointers? Is there little things that you could done to help me, last longer or better?
Both my grandmas are dead, so I don't know. I'm probably not going to be able to talk to them, but I'd be interested to know what they thought.
Yeah. Get some pointers, everything like that?
Yeah.
Grandmas are down to fuck. Now, as I mentioned before, last week there was like this stupid celebrity story that basically listed that George Clooney was officially listed as the most attractive man in the world.
Who the hell is judging these things, by the way?
Well, okay, these are the kind of things I do research on to do, silly internet radio.
Sure, you're doing research.
I know. I was just Googling George Clooney because he's dreamy. Anyways, the point is, the way they came up with that was apparently there's a golden ratio to where the Greeks came up with in their point of they quantified beauty, and it comes with a score. So basically it's 1 to 10. If you're above like a 7, it means that you're like a palatable human being to look at. Like you're okay to look at. If you're over an 8, you're technically what most people would find attractive. If you're over a 9, that means that you're like, okay, Hollywood star model type deal. Like George Clooney came out as like a 9.2 or something, like a 92 point something.
So
like
pretty fuckable.
Pretty fuckable. Yeah. Like, yeah, if he wants to fuck you, you got to be down.
But what about his dick? Did they rate his dick?
There's a different ratio that the Romans came up with, but they didn't have an app for that. Now, if I had pictures of George Clooney's dick, which I used to, but I got a new phone.
Why the hell why wouldn't you save those forever? You print that shit out.
I know, but I'll be honest with you, he's a much better face. His dick, I would say, was only like a 5.
Okay.
But,
I don't know.
You think George Clooney's got a great dick?
I would assume so.
Who do you
still
think?
Single and like.
He's not single. He just got married. He has kids.
Oh, shit.
That happened like 3 years ago.
Well, I don't pay attention to things.
Yeah, that dick settled down.
Yeah, that dick.
All right, well, then he was single for a lot of his life.
Yes.
And I think.
And I had people out of LA claiming that the big thing was they were thinking that he was actually gay. That's why he was that single. I'm just telling you what I was told.
I mean, he might be one of those people that, like
dabbled in homosexuality.
Yeah, just try it out.
I think most Hollywood stars
he got to share his beautifulness with everyone.
That's one of the things that I always found interesting is that one of the greatest quotes in the history of like Hollywood gossip was when John Travolta in a private conversation said that he basically like blew a bunch of dudes back in the 70s to like get on Welcome Back, Kotter and all that kind of stuff. And then he says, "Wise up, Hollywood is run by gay Jews."
Okay.
And I just thought that was so weird because it was just like, not only is he anti-Semitic, but he's also like homophobic in a sense that it's not even just Jews run Hollywood. It's a certain sect of Jews.
Probably Reformed Jews.
Yeah, Reformed. Yeah. I mean, I probably didn't have like the whole regalia or anything like that. But I just always thought was an interesting thing. So, just as an example, okay, we did me, and my ratio came out to be, what did it come out, Alex?
2. I think.
No, it didn't come out as 2. I took enough pictures to find one that I
to
actually was
find
okay.
the best one.
The bad one.
The one that you were like kind of smiling in.
Kind of, yeah.
All right.
If 7 is like palatable to look at, wouldn't 2 be like a fucking puddle of dirt?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. 2 would mean you're literally like someone took a sledgehammer and smashed your face.
Okay.
Then you'd be a 2. But what did it come out with?
Well, guess.
I did this. It was 8.91.
All right. Well, Alex, you have to guess. Oh, come
Okay.
on.
All right. So see,
Don't ruin it for everyone.
there's me. See how they have the ratio.
And this is objective.
This is science.
Okay.
Did you find anyone though that was below a 7?
Yes, but I didn't. Yes, I did. I didn't. I'm not being nice. I mean, I'm being nice right now. No, just to be whatever. Nobody in this room is a below a 7, because then we
Well,
did.
obviously.
Okay, we did Alex Clemens, and she came out.
I think
Go ahead.
you picked the fucking weirdest picture of me.
It was honestly the picture that you scored the highest on.
How is that the picture that I scored the highest on?
Okay, show the picture so Stypula can look at it.
It's there.
Okay,
Just
9.21.
yeah, like why would that be the picture that
Because
you
you're the
picked of me?
most angular and you're looking down and you had to find a picture that you
Well,
were
so I have
straight
to
on.
keep that face on all the
That's
time to be
according to the
beautiful?
Greeks, that is the highest level of beauty that 9.21.
Nice, nailed it.
Yeah, so you nailed it with that picture. That's a beautiful one. Now
I don't know if I can recreate that face all the time.
I know. You should walk down the street looking like that, and then just men would just be, their penises would explode in pure joy, because that's the best, according to the Greeks. If you go to now we go to Alex Stypula.
So it's based on symmetry?
Yes,
Is that what you said? Okay.
that's the Greeks were big into symmetry, the columns and all that kind of shit. So then we go to Alex Stypula. This is his score. Go ahead. It just takes time to go. What is it, Alex?
It's 8.6.
Okay, so you're
which I don't believe
8.6. Now
So
keep
not
that in mind.
good.
You're good. 8 is attractive.
I'd vote you higher than Mike. But.
Okay. Okay. Well, clearly science doesn't. So.
The thing with this is like when you're looking at his picture, his face looks super symmetrical.
Yes. Well, 8.6 is pretty symmetrical.
But I mean, like compared to our faces,
Okay.
it looks more symmetrical.
Okay, well, you're disagreeing with science. All I did was punch in the picture, and that's the one where like you were looking straight at the camera and everything like that.
Yeah.
But still, 8.6 is pretty good.
It
Means
probably
you're-
took my acne and
Okay.
insecurities into account.
It probably did. But I mean, okay, if you walk into a bar and you say, hey, out of a 10, science speaking, I'm an 8.6. That's not bad.
Get it tattooed on my forehead.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we should all. This is how we should be like organized as a society. Anyways, okay, so here's the thing. We did this for some of your favorite killers of all time. So the question is, Alex, are you better looking than these people according to science? So the first one we're going to do, Adolf Hitler.
It's not one of my favorites.
Not one of my favorites. Okay.
But yes, I'm. Yeah.
You are better looking than Adolf Hitler. Alex, show the picture. Is he better?
Just do a little drum roll.
Is he better looking than Adolf Hitler?
Yes.
Yes, you are. You are better looking than Adolf Hitler. What was it? Adolf Hitler's score was 8.51.
Weird sunken cheeks.
I know, but the thing is about it is, one, I think that's airbrushed.
I think it's a painting.
Well, I don't know, because it's a picture, but
Who's
again,
airbrushing pictures of Hitler? Like, why would
I
you
think
want to
they're
make
all-
him look better?
there were whole departments in the Nazi regime that probably just retouched Hitler's photos.
Did they do that back then?
Of course they did. They have like
It was literally airbrushing back then.
yeah. But like, okay, 8.51. So just so you understand, you are better looking than Adolf Hitler according to the Greeks. So
Woo.
congratulations
You
there.
won.
Now another one who was kind of known as more of a ladies' man, Ted Bundy, who Alex actually thought was an interesting one. You saw a movie of him or something like that. You were a big
Yeah,
fan
he's
of
one
him.
of my favorites.
And his fairs.
He's hot.
Ted Bundy though. Okay.
But apparently,
Okay. All right. We put there. Are you hotter than Ted Bundy?
No.
Okay.
I mean, that's wrong.
Okay.
that's so wrong.
7.82.
I think it's the picture that you picked.
yeah,
he's not straight on.
He's over a 9 for sure.
Yeah.
You think he's over a 9?
Oh yeah.
How do you think
He
he
was
was
a
able to do
stud.
what he did?
He was a massive psychopath, but
Okay, what's the one thing about Ted Bundy that most people would like not know? Most people know that obviously he killed a lot of people. What else is about Ted Bundy? What was special about him?
I think the one interesting thing is he tried to blame it all on pornography. As a
Yeah.
cop out. You find like a lot of these serial killers, they okay, so it's awful what they did, obviously, but then they're like, they double down on making it worse by being cowards. He was like, he killed like dozens of women. He was trying to say that like the proliferation of pornography is to blame. And I think it was Pat Robertson, who was one of those douchebag preachers who tried to, he interviewed him right before he died, and he was the one that was trying to push that.
Because obviously, he was one of those person that just didn't want people to have
asshole
freedom.
Christian was like, see what pornography does? Which is, that's why he murdered dozens of women.
Yeah, because he was the only person ever that looked at pornography.
Yeah.
He was the one. It was a $9 trillion industry, and Ted Bundy was $8 trillion of it.
So that I think is interesting, and it makes him an even bigger piece of shit.
He was also like his own, like he represented himself in one of his cases. And he got to interview some of the people that survived like one of his murders. Yeah.
So again, horrible piece of shit, but according to science, Alex Stypula better looking than Ted Bundy.
I'm not though.
Okay. Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker.
No fucking way. He's got to be like a 1.
Okay. Well, all right. So you're saying you're better looking than the Night Stalker?
Oh, for sure. Whatever it is.
Okay. Go ahead. The Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker.
He had the most fucked up teeth.
Well, it didn't go with the teeth. It was just his picture, 8.6.
The same?
So you are the exact same in terms of...
If his mouth was open, it would be -15.
Yeah, but what was up? Like, if you Google his teeth, like it has its own like picture thing. It's just like mangled and
real bad. Yeah.
Like it almost had like fangs.
Imagine being murdered with someone like with teeth like that.
Yeah, I mean, not only
want
are
to
you
be murdered by a pretty person.
Yeah, I want to be like looking at a nice face when they got their hands around my neck.
Yeah. I mean, that would be the worst. Like, if you went up to then your grandma, who was, by the way, watching the whole time, then you'd go up to her and be like, Grandma, you couldn't go to, like, God and let, like, a George Clooney-esque, person murder me? Or, even our own Alex Clemens. If Alex Clemens was, like, the last face you saw as he was choking the life out of you, that wouldn't be terrible.
Yeah, okay, sure, yeah, that's great.
Yeah, there you go. That's not a bad way to go.
So that means I can kill people?
Yes.
And it's cool?
And people would be totally cool with it. Okay.
All right.
Next up. John Wayne Gacy.
No, he's ugly as shit.
Okay, John Wayne Gacy. Let's go to John Wayne Gacy.
He's horrible.
Oh, wow. That's a surprising score.
Yeah, go throw it up there.
You have to be patient, Mike.
Okay, but what's the score?
8.77.
According to science.
So this is faulty. Obviously.
Wait, what the hell was your score, Mike? 8.9?
Yeah.
What?
Yes. Yours was 9. Where's 9.21?
Yeah, mine's believable.
Okay,
That's a young. Where is that when he was caught? It looks
that's his mugshot. The whole point is I was trying to find ones where they were looking straight ahead. So their mugshots would have been the easiest things to find.
There's stuff it's not taking into account.
Okay.
Like personality.
I love you.
Personality.
I love you. Again, I'm not
I
talking.
just had to show the picture again.
If you looked at John Wayne Gacy in the eye, you'd be like, oh my God, there's nothing back there.
But okay, if you look
This
at
is
me
also
in
biased. Like, Mike is the one who did all of this research.
Okay.
So obviously he's going to make his score higher.
I can't make the score higher.
We have no idea. We've never seen this app before.
I'll show you the app after the radio
I want real
broadcast.
scientists to come in and do this.
Well, by the way, most of this formula was invented by the Greeks, who are currently all dead or broke currently. So guess what?
We'll find them.
We'll find them. We'll find some Greek
'em
scientists
up.
who still do that kind of science. I'm reporting. All I'm doing, I don't make the news, I just report it. I'm like Mike Tomlin. Okay, Jeffrey Dahmer, one of your favorites.
20.
He's over a 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's at least a hard 10.
What do you think about, like, what made you attracted to Jeffrey Dahmer as a serial killer? Like, because I've talked to you this is one of your favorites.
I don't know. He's just really interesting. Maybe the trying to make zombies by drilling holes in people's heads while they're still alive. He was insane. He's also a raging alcoholic.
Did he try to blame the alcohol?
He was a little more complicated. He tried to. Yeah, he didn't take full credit. Probably not as bad as Bundy, but yeah, he would have to get blackout wasted to kill people.
You're right. That's a coward.
He would though. Yeah, I knew he was a coward, I guess, in that way. He wanted the dead bodies.
Okay.
He did not like the murdering part.
And you're sitting there saying
He
that's
just
the
wants all
best.
those body parts in his fridge.
But the thing is in your mind, that's the best part.
Well, I don't. There's different ones. They call it process or product serial killers. Some people, after the victim is dead, they're like, I'm not interested. And then some of them, they only want the dead victim. They don't want the actual process of the
Who do
murder.
you respect more?
I don't know. It's just interesting that it gets that degree of of nuance.
I would say I would respect more the people that, I mean, it's the killing. Isn't that what you're kind of after? The body, you can just go get a body anywhere.
Not the same. I mean, Ed Gein did that.
He just bought bodies?
No, he just dug them up.
Oh,
He only
okay.
ever killed 2. Well, he might have killed more, but he only definitely killed 2 people.
So if he went to
He
like
mostly
this,
just dug up graveyards.
but if he went to like the serial killer luncheon, they'd kind of shit on him.
Maybe.
Because they'd be like 2 people? I mean, come on.
2 is technically not a serial killer. It has
Yeah,
to be.
you're just the guy with
3.
you had a bad weekend.
But he's super famous, and he did upholster. He had a nipple belt,
Okay.
and he did upholster furniture with human skin, and he like made the headboard of his bed out of bones and stuff.
Okay.
So he had some character to him.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he could work at like IKEA doing some weird shit.
Yeah,
but, there you
he
go.
could babysit, too.
There you go. All right, a couple more. Charles Manson. Are you better looking than Charles Manson?
Yeah.
Okay, let's show Charles Manson.
I like the really long awkward
I know you
silence.
do. You love the real awkward
Is the
science.
swastika on his forehead symmetrical?
No, it's not in this picture.
Okay, this is early. I didn't want to go like late one. So what was it? 8 point.
8.43.
So you're better looking than Charles Manson.
It's his
Yeah.
eyes, dude.
Oh, he's horrifying.
Now technically he never actually did. He never actually stabbed anybody. He sent people.
He personally never killed anyone.
Yeah.
He's just that whole thing's interesting because it just kind of got out of control and got insane. Like he didn't have the psyche of a serial killer or any of those people. It's just this weird cult thing that flipped a switch at some point.
And he was trying to start a race war. That was his big thing.
Oh
right?
yeah. He was a colorful man.
And then by the way,
Character.
they now Quentin Tarantino's next movie is going to be about the Manson killings.
Really?
Yeah, and this was the big controversy a couple weeks ago was the person who was going to play Sharon Tate, they were trying to get Jennifer Lawrence.
Mm-hmm.
And Sharon Tate's sister came out and said, I don't want Jennifer Lawrence to play my sister. I don't think she's attractive enough.
What?
Yeah.
I thought she was gonna be like, I don't want this movie to happen or something.
No, she wants the movie because
Totally.
probably she's going to get some dough from it. But Sharon, she goes, I don't want Jennifer Lawrence, not attractive enough to play Sharon Tate.
Now, so Roman Polanski's gonna play himself.
Yeah, I believe so. They're going to shoot the whole thing in France.
Yeah.
So there you go. Now, final one, Son of Sam, David Berkowitz. Are you better looking than
Depends
Son
on
of
the
Sam?
picture, but for sure I'm better looking than David Berkowitz.
Okay, show us
He
the
has
picture.
some nice cheekbones.
Honestly,
Kind of
this
looks
was
like I feel like he's like a Cher lookalike.
see to me. If someone said he was a Cher like impersonator, I would go for it. That picture actually very high, 9.04.
Yeah, this is flawed though. Like that's not attractive, right? It's a weird looking face.
But it's symmetrical. That's where it came down to, like in
But
terms
seriously,
of
if you
beauty.
put a wig on him, don't you think he would look like Cher? It's a cheekbones.
I
in
guess
his
he
nose.
does. He does kind of.
I think he looks like it was like Frank Stallone or something like that. Like he looks like a Stallone brother.
Yeah, he could pass for that.
Yeah. But and now you told me an interesting fact about him. He would listen to Rich Girl by.
Yeah, well, we just
Oh, good
did.
song.
We did 2 episodes ago. We did Son of Sam on our podcast, and it was Lena's turn. So that was the one she picked, and she read it. But yeah, he used to listen to "Rich Girl" by Hall & Oates before he would go out stalking.
Did it ever come out why he listened to Hall
No,
& Oates?
no, I didn't find anything else.
Pumps
but
him up.
Other than that, Hall & Oates
good
is
song,
amazing.
yeah.
Yeah. Everyone loves Hall & Oates. If anyone says they don't love Hall & Oates, they're lying.
Yeah, at least the hits.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, obviously you don't want to go with the deep cuts of Hall & Oates.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're talking about like, your Rich Girl or Out of Touch or Man Eater, yeah, when that song comes on,
Yeah,
you go in there.
Private Eyes.
Yeah, Private Eyes, great song. Okay, so what we've established is overall you're more attractive than most serial killers.
Good.
So congratulations with that. Moving on to more news and notes. Highest paid comedians in America just came out.
Yeah.
Sadly, I'm not on the list. You're not on the list. Alex is actually on the list. So
no
congratulations
shit.
on that one.
Good for you.
Number 10, Sebastian Maniscalco, whatever his name is.
I don't know who that is.
He's a touring comic. That's the one thing about these lists that always come out is like 90% of comedians don't know who these people are. Like everyone always goes, oh, I respect this guy, I respect this guy. And then you see the list of the people and then no one knows. He made $15 million last year.
Jesus.
And Jeff Dunham
Okay, I know.
made $15 million. Again, his big thing is it went over like how he made his money, pure touring.
Yeah,
And,
I
and
actually don't
DVD
care
sales.
for him.
Well, he's one of those people that like, yeah, he's not a comedian's comedian. Anybody who like plays
Or
with
a good
puppets.
one.
Yeah, in terms of puppetry and
I don't think there's something inherently bad about ventriloquism itself. I think anything can be made funny or good. Like I really like magic. I think magic is super cool. It gets this lame rap, but I think good ones are great. But he's like kind of a racist, and it's stupid. It's just bad comedy.
Yeah,
I don't give a shit that he uses puppets.
And he made $15 million last year. Terry Fader, 18.5 million. He's another one. I think he's a ventriloquist. He won America's Got Talent, so he has like a permanent residency in Las Vegas. Wow. So like when you talk about like people who like old ladies that go to Las Vegas, they go and see him.
Sweet Vegas life.
Jim Gaffigan, $30 million last year.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. Again,
he does
Netflix.
commercials.
Yeah, he does commercials now, all that kind of stuff. Kevin Hart, only 32.5 million. He was number one last year with 87. He's having a rough year, so he might need a loan. Number 5, Amy Schumer, 37.5 million, up from 17 million. So again, Netflix specials. The number one thing that's driving these numbers is Netflix.
Really?
Everyone's getting like $50 million to do Netflix specials. I think we're going to get like, they're going to run out of comics and they're going to get to us.
Take $1 million.
Oh, yeah. Dave Chappelle. Last year he was 6th with 13 million. This year, $47 million.
Because he just did his Netflix stuff.
Yeah,
right?
he did 2 of them. So that was the number one thing. Louis C.K., $52 million.
That's a lot of money.
Again, with Netflix. Chris Rock, $57 million. $40 million Netflix deal. And number 1, still the reigning champ for like the last 100 years, Jerry Seinfeld, $69 million last year because of Seinfeld residuals. Also Netflix, comedians in cars getting coffees going on Netflix. So yeah, if you know Jerry Seinfeld, guy's making a little cash. Now, one thing that I always like about these lists is when you go to comedians and you talk to them, first and foremost, I mean, everybody knows these guys, but do you as a comedian like respect most of these in terms of a comedian, or do you just like, well, they're just successful, they make money kind of deal?
The ones that I knew who they were, yeah, aside from Jeff Dunham. I think he's garbage. But the other ones, yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Alex?
Yeah.
Like him?
I agree, the exact same.
I will say this. When I saw Seinfeld, I saw him at the Benedum Center. A lot more like into it than I thought he would be, but definitely doesn't. I mean, he's not like a Louis C.K. in terms of like writing new
I guess
material.
maybe him a little bit less than the others. He hasn't really grown.
No, he's Jerry Seinfeld. He's done the same act. I mean, and he just finds a new thing, and he kind of just goes from there. But like when I saw him, I would say about 75% of his act I saw collectively through Tonight Shows and Letterman's and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So it was kind of like going to go see like a Rolling Stones, like, oh, they're going to play Satisfaction. Oh, he's going to do his Pop-Tart bit. Right. That kind of deal. Which, I mean, as a comedian, I wouldn't go back and see it because I'm like, I don't want to see the Pop-Tart bit again. Yeah. But it was cool that I got to see Jerry Seinfeld, all that kind of stuff. So, moving on. New study out of Florida State University states that if you are a beautiful woman and you want to be happy for the rest of your life, and I'm not singing this song, this is actual studies, Alex, they said women that have husbands that are less attractive than them, on a whole, much more happier than women that have attractive husbands.
Well, didn't they do the study in the opposite direction too?
Yes, but now they've checked it out.
So how is this supposed to work? If pretty guys are supposed to be with ugly women and pretty women are supposed to be with ugly guys, how does that work?
Only one person in a relationship would be happy.
Yeah.
Whoever's more attractive will be happy. That's it.
Yeah. Well, then the ugly person, because the point they had was if you're significantly prettier than your spouse, then you don't worry about like keeping, dieting constantly. You're not worried about the other person leaving you because you're like more attractive. So really what the whole point is
How about you just don't pay attention to any of that and you stay fit and you don't get jealous and then you'll be happy.
I think that's the way to go, but most people don't do that, especially, when you're woman.
Well, fuck those people.
Well, fuck them and the asshole.
I'm going to marry another pretty person.
That's right.
It's just mean.
That's right. Alex, do you have the other Alex? Alex 2?
I'll probably never get married. So.
Okay, all right. Tomi Lahren and Chelsea Handler had a debate over the weekend.
That sounds productive.
Yeah, and so, but the big point was it really just came out that Tomi Lahren doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about. She just basically is just a very attractive conservative woman that has kind of just read the pamphlet that Rush Limbaugh produced like 20 years ago.
Yeah, she hustled her way into it. That's the thing with doing stuff like that is it kind of just inherently gives them an air of credence. Like she shouldn't be debating Tomi Lahren because she sucks. Yeah. She doesn't know anything. She's just a blowhard.
Well, the thing is that what I've learned, first and foremost, being in radio, you learn that obviously, Rush Limbaugh used to be a DJ in Pittsburgh.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, he was at KQV back when it was a music. He was Bill Christie. He was a top 40 DJ. Got fired. Was so bad at it that his program director in Pittsburgh fired him and said, "You have no future in radio. If you want, I'll make you a salesman." Mm-hmm. So he had to go off back home to Missouri. He became the season ticket salesperson for corporate sales for the Kansas City Royals. Then Reagan lifted the fairness doctrine, making it that you could have 24 hours of conservative talk if you wanted to. He got back on the radio, figured out that there was enough conservatives in the world that would want to hear basically their viewpoint, mm-hmm. and that's how eventually he made $50 million a year doing it. Because really...
Made America worse.
Yeah. Rush Limbaugh only really has 2 points. 1, Democrats are wrong. 2, the media's bias. That's it.
Remember all that Oxycontin, though?
That was a cool part about him.
Yeah.
I personally believe that the reason why he did that is he had so much hatred thrown at him mm-hmm. that eventually it just broke down his body. Because I don't care how much, if 80% of the country hates you, no matter if 20% love you, if 80% hate you, it eventually physically destroys you.
Yeah, but also maybe shouldn't you maybe look at those numbers and be like, hey, so 80%?
I think
Am I doing something wrong?
Here's my thing. I think he was sitting there looking at the fact that I was a failed DJ trying it straight.
Yeah.
And so now I'm making $50 million a year. I can't do anything else. No one likes me the other way. I'm stuck doing this. It's almost like the Chris Farley thing of you're scared to lose weight because then you stop being funny, quote unquote. Mm-hmm. He can't stop being an asshole because if he stops being an asshole and saying, hey, wait a minute, maybe I'm making the country worse.
They should have flipped who died. Out of those two.
Yeah. Chris Farley should be doing radio.
Yeah.
And, Rush Limbaugh. Now, one thing is, didn't he come back from we had the Oxycontin thing. Then he also came back from the Dominican Republic with Viagra, because they're saying that he was going to sex farms and all this kind of shit.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it sounds like something he'd do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so moving on in the sense that, okay, so Tomi Lahren. So they have a debate with Chelsea Handler, and Chelsea Handler asks her the question because they're arguing about Obamacare. And she sits there and says, Tomi, do you know how hard it is for normal people to get health care? And Tomi Lahren goes, well, I'm lucky because I don't need to do that because right now I'm on my parents' health care because she's 24. Mm-hmm. And everyone points out, it's moron. That means that Obamacare has helped you.
Yeah.
Because if it wasn't for Obamacare, you couldn't have been on your parents' health care till 26. That's a part of Obamacare.
Yeah, you extended it.
Yeah. So the whole point is just like you said, she doesn't know actually anything. Mm-hmm. She just basically spouts talking points. It's kind of like when you sit there and we talk about as comics, when you start to pander. There's a reason why hack material works. Most audiences feel comfortable if you go up there and just talk about women do this, men do this, blah, blah, blah. It's easy. It's food that people can digest. And if you go on the radio and sit there and say, Democrats are wrong, self-reliance, the media's biased, blah, 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 then enough people out there will say, yes, you're right, that's what I agree with. What advertisers do I need to go with? Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, she doesn't know what the hell she's talking about.
No.
I just thought that was interesting. All right. There's a new richest man in the world.
Who is it?
It is Jeff Bezos, the CEO of Amazon.
Oh, he's a cool guy.
He is just
he's a
passed.
Nice guy.
Yeah, he just passed. Have you met him?
No, he's a piece of shit. I think.
But he passed Bill Gates because he had a good day at the stock market. So in one day, his net worth jumped about $3 billion, surpassing Bill Gates.
So Bill Gates was still the richest?
Yeah.
Wow.
Even now this is the thing that you talk about, he's a piece of shit. So Bill Gates was worth $90 billion. Has already given away $32 billion. Mm-hmm. Still worth 90. This guy is worth now $91, $92 billion. In totality, he's only given away to charity about $100 million.
That's not much.
I would say that
statistically.
Statistically, if you're worth $90 billion and you've only given away $100 million of it, you're a complete piece of shit.
He also has a toxic corporate culture.
Yeah. And he's also destroying a lot of retail America because like he's undershooting, people, and so that no one's going to be able to work at stores anymore. They're just going to,
We're all going to work in Amazon warehouses.
Exactly. And we're all going to have a bigger problem, which is the robots are taking over.
Yeah.
And this actually happened last week.
This actually happened last week that the robots took over.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about this. All right. Because it's my show. Last week, the Facebook people started an artificial intelligence app, or because they wanted to analyze and wanted it to learn in real time the logarithms so that they could better position our mom's photos on our Facebook and shit like that. Mm-hmm. On its own, the computers invented their own language that wasn't English to speak to each other and started to make decisions that were independent of the human beings. Mm-hmm. And it got to a point to where they informed this to Jeff Zuckerberg and these computers are starting to learn and starting to go away from us, and we're gonna be to a point of we can't control them. So they had to shut down the entire artificial intelligence part, which is why I have a picture up of the Terminators, because this is how the war with the robots starts.
Is that what they looked like?
Yeah, that's what actually the Facebook.
They had that lighting there too.
Yeah, that's actually inside of Facebook's offices out in Palo Alto, California.
So they have like a fog machine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, come on, you make $80 gazillion a day.
Probably a really nice one.
Yeah, it's probably a really nice one. And then those are the people. If you call up Facebook's customer service,
they take their skin off.
Yeah, that's what they look like.
Oh my God.
Now, do you have any opinion on the eventual robot apocalypse?
I don't know.
This News and Notes is really happy, really fun.
It is fun.
A lot of fun topics.
Exactly.
Can't wait to be dead, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, that's basically the question.
That is You know who
How
else?
excited are you for robots to kill you?
Yeah. Also, someone that is really excited to be interviewed. You're old enough to remember Willa Ford. She was the white trash version of Britney Spears. She was
kind of rings a bell.
Okay,
but...
show the picture if you read it. She had the one song "I Wanna Be Bad."
Can you sing it?
I wanna be bad.
Is that actually how it goes?
So good.
I gotta see this picture.
She eventually married Mike Madonna. That's when you marry the 80th best hockey player in the country. That's what you are in the world. Okay, I picked again an attractive photo of her. There it is. There's Willa Ford. She just had a recent interview. She only had one hit. Mm-hmm. And she was supposed to be the next Britney, Christina, Jessica Simpson. In her recent interview, she blamed 9/11 for her failure.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Because she basically said that the reason why her second signal did not do well was because it was released on 9/11.
Oh.
So it wasn't that she was talentless. It wasn't that she had nothing left to offer. It was the Twin Towers were destroyed.
Couldn't she just release the single at a different date?
Well, here's what actually...
It used to, records always used to be released on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
And so it was already probably planned.
Just do it just do a different one and then a month later and see if you're good.
She's full of shit because one of my favorite albums I always thought was interesting. Ben Folds, I loved growing up, and he released "Rockin' the Suburbs," which is one of his most popular albums, on September 11th, 2001.
Yeah.
And he made it.
Yeah.
He's great.
Yeah.
So again, Willa Ford, it wasn't 9/11. No. It wasn't the fact that we were, it wasn't that we're not going to listen to pop music anymore because, there was still pop music after 9/11. It's just that
it got good.
Yeah, then it got real. Yeah. Then it got real good shit.
I think it's her face.
You just think you're not a big fan of her face?
Yeah. She kind of looks a little mean. I feel like if you're going to be super popular, yeah.
Of the ones of all of the the 90s pop princesses, she was supposed to be the bad girl.
What did she do afterwards? I think she should just be in porn.
She was in Playboy.
Oh, well.
And when it was one of those Playboy centerfolds that you're just I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? Oh, great, you're naked. I don't care.
That's probably what I knew her from. I probably saw that when I was younger.
Yeah, absolutely. What's up?
Nothing.
Okay. We're going to end on this. I don't know how big a fan you two are of MTV. But they made the biggest, which they made an announcement that because they've run officially out of ideas, starting in September, TRL is coming back to MTV.
It's not going to be as good.
But no Carson Daly. But they're going to get new hosts, a bunch of annoying people. There's going to be 5 hosts. And the other announcement they made yesterday was that there will no longer be gender-specific categories in the MTV Music Awards, and you no longer will win a moon man, you will win a moon person.
What will it look like?
It will look the same,
Yeah.
but they just will not acknowledge that
moon person.
The person
Sounds cooler
underneath,
anyways.
that the piece of metal might have male genitalia.
Okay.
So just in case you ever win
What
one.
is it, like a race of moon people now?
Yeah, well, I mean, like
That sounds really cool.
now that would be cool if we got taken over by a race of moon people.
Yeah.
Then you go.
That's what.
This has been a wonderful show. That is Alex Stypula.
Thank you for having me.
What else do you got? The podcast, Gimme Murder, Gimme Death. What else?
Shows and shit.
Shows and
also, I did a web series called The Hard Dentist. You can look that up on YouTube. It's
Great
under
stuff.
the Race of the Coffin comedy page. And yeah, you like this.
Yeah, you like this. The funniest, I think, locally produced video
The
thing.
Pits.
The
The Pits page on Facebook.
Funny man, check him out. Thank you very much to Alex Stypula. Thank you very much to Alex Clemens. Thank you very much to The River's Edge. Again, listen to all the great local music at www.riversedgepgh.com. My name is Mike Sasson. This has been The Mike Sasson Show. See you next week. Bye.